What's up, good people? What's up, good people? It's your boy, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., for another episode for the Author Showcase. We're at actually episode 86, so I'm getting close to 100. So I'm getting excited about that. And next month will be 4 years with the National Black Unity News. So I'm so happy, and we talked last night, but I'm so happy to be a part of this of the National Black Unity News family. And you can get your can't see it through there, darn it, but you can see it on there. I have to lean over to the side so you can see the current issue, the current it's over this side, the cover of this the latest issue, the October, November, December issue. But in January, that newest issue will be out. We'll be going into our fourth year, so I'm excited. I'm totally excited about that. I'm just I'm so thankful for the authors who have been a part of the showcase since its inception, and those that have chosen to allow us to be able to have them tell their stories and talk about their books, their messages, their missions, their motivation, all of those great things that have come along with the National Black Unity News and the Authors Showcase. So today's episode is going to be no different. And I have a treat because she is not only a part of the showcase, but she is actually also she is an editor in the National Black Unity News newspaper. So you can definitely not just want to check her out or check her journal out in the showcase, but you also want to check out her page in the current issue of the National Black Unity News, which is filled with such phenomenal authors. I mean, not authors, but writers and contributors, editors to the newspaper. You're not going to find these types of articles, these types of different topics that are covered in this newspaper in mainstream media. And that's one of the great things about the newspaper. And it's not just a national newspaper, it's an international newspaper that reaches across the globe and touches people all over. So I'm just thankful to be here for 86 episodes and moving more closer and closer towards 100. So I want to get into this conversation this evening, and I'm going to allow her to tell us about herself, if we can. But I want to at least want to introduce her. And she is none other than Dr. Nialah Ali. But she's an author, she's a speaker, and she's going to tell you more about all the other great things that she does. And we're going to have a conversation just about some of those things, and the journal that she has coming out that is available, and it is absolutely phenomenal, you all. So, Dr. Ali, how are you, ma'am?
Good evening. How are you?
I am doing awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you for joining me for the author showcase. I appreciate it.
Glad to be here this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I want to start off, if you can, and this is what I usually do. We start off by just having the guests tell us just a little bit about who they are, and then kind of how they, kind of got to where they are right now. And we'll get into more of the details and everything too. But just tell us a little bit about who Dr. Ali is, Nialah Ali is.
Sure. I'm Dr. Nialah Ali. I'm a wife. I'm a proud mother and grandmother. I'm an author, a wellness consultant, licensed esthetician, teacher. Have been branded as the master spiritual esthetician because I do specialize in the spirit, soul, and the body. Most of my topics, that's what I actually deal with when I'm speaking and teaching, is the spirit, soul, and body.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I want you to. Now you said you are a wellness consultant. Tell me what that entails.
I have lots of clients that call me
Hmm.
with health issues,
Okay.
and my clients that know me and my expertise. And what happened was, being a licensed esthetician, when I had my day spa in North Carolina, it actually turned into a wellness spa because I
Mm.
recognized that even though people had topical problems, most of the problems started inwardly.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that I actually consult with are those who are not interested in the westernized medications. They
Okay.
would rather use something alternative, something natural. So I help them. And I do a lot of research when they tell me what's going on, where they can actually use other things for things like high blood pressure and things like that.
Oh, I love that. I love that because it gives people not the traditional, or like you said, the Western traditional ways of getting on medication and everything like that, but actually understanding, what the body needs, and then also from a just a mental state too, and the part that that plays, and especially nowadays, that how that plays in our health and everything like that. So I like that. I like that. That's
Yeah, well,
definitely.
that I use the biblical concepts that I give you herbs for medicine, and I teach a
Hmm.
whole lot telling people let food be your medicine, and
Hmm.
we can do so many different things, and for some reason we are sort of stuck, um, with just going to the doctor and the doctor giving you a prescription, and what the prescription actually does most of the time is sort of mask what's going
Mm.
on with you, where my concept is to teach the people how to get to the root of the problem and believe God that we can get a cure. I'm not saying that I cure anybody. I would never speak that. But as I said, I give people alternatives. They can do acupuncture and other different things that they can use to help balance the body.
Wow. Wow. I like that. And like I said, wellness, our mental wellness is I think a contributing factor to, to our overall health as well too, because if we're not in that right mental
State of
mindset,
mind.
yeah,
Mm-hmm,
state of mind,
mm-hmm.
then I think everything kind of goes away from there. So I think I think that's great. Um I want to start by asking you this. If you had to describe, if there was one word that you could use to describe your writing style, what would that be? What would that word be?
I would say maybe empathy.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I always try to touch to the bone with people. I'm real with people. It's having a conversation. I write from not from just writing. I write mostly from experiences, things that I've gone through. And I'm very emphatic with people because of the emotions and the traumatic experiences that I had in my own life. So I'm sort of sensitive to people's needs and their desires. I don't try to push things on people. I'm a gentle giant, meaning that I encourage, I build up, but I also try to pull you up from out of the mire. I I try not to allow people to stay in the mud.
Mm,
I don't allow people to wallow in their mess, because you have to face the fact that yes, this did happen. Now what do I do? So
mhm.
yeah.
I like that. Don't wallow in your mess. That's gonna
Yeah, some people, and I'm only using some, I've met people throughout my whole life. Their pain is sometimes used, um, sometimes it gets attention.
mhm,
Um,
mhm,
some people who are not surrounded or don't have a large circle to be around, sometimes they find themselves, sort of complaining about what's going on with them, and it
mhm.
gives them sometimes the attention that they need.
Right.
I'm not saying that they use it, but some people aren't aware. I try to help people to focus on the fact that you can get rid of that no matter what it is, or you can live through it. I try to help people try to live through whatever situation and circumstance that they find themselves in. And the
Mhm,
reason why I say that is because of everything that I went through in my life.
mhm.
Um, Tied up, beat up, hung up, drugged, not by choice, kidnapped, abused, handcuffed, and I never thought I'd see the light of day. I actually did not think I would make it through it.
Wow.
But because I did, like I said, I'm a gentle giant, but I can be kind of tough sometimes when I see people not wanting to do the work. It takes work to get out of circumstances and situations. And I use this little scenario with women sometimes who are portraying themselves to be one way when in all actuality, they have on these red bottom shoes when they should have on combat boots. Or they have on ballerina shoes dancing when they should have on, other type of shoes. We portray ourselves as being okay when we go out into the public's eye, but yet when we go home, we have to look the real you in the mirror. So I just try to encourage people to be real with themselves. And that takes strength that sometimes we may not feel like we have. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I believe fake it till you make it, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I tell you be real. Another scenario, we as African Americans, we are very churchy. We go to church. That's our safe place. But years ago, I learned how to not play fake it. You pull up on the grounds of the church and you act like magic somehow comes over you. Praise the Lord, glory to God. How you doing? And you say, I'm blessed, glory to God. But I challenged myself one day. My husband and I got into a very terrible not accident, in a terrible argument on our way to church. And when I got to church, I was on the praise team. And you know what? I was not gonna lie. How you doing? Glory to God. I'm not doing well today. As a matter of fact, me and my husband just got into an argument, and you see, you have to be real. You can't put on these emotions and try to act like everything is okay when all actuality is not, because you know what? You do it so much, it becomes a part of you, and you never fix it because you're so used to Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, you going into these places acting like everything okay, and you don't take the time to get it right. And you live day by day, year by year, and you come to an old age and you still have these problems going on in your life because you did not take the time and the work that it takes to fix it. Yes, there's a lot going on with the mental, thing right now, with people having so many problems because of COVID and what's the world, the whole world itself. But we've got to come together as a community to face reality that we do need help, cry out for help. I know my family, most of the time, we try to come together when we have gatherings, and I'll take a cousin or a niece or somebody to the side and say, hey, how are you? And we'll get down to it. We get in there. You get the conversation, and it opens up and it allows healing to come. And we as people need to let each other know that we are concerned, and that's how I live my life, helping others, because I remember what I went through. I remember being separated my family. I had to uproot myself. In my book, Free at Last, the first thing I tell people to do if they're in an abusive relationship is to run. And it's hard to up and leave your family and not be with them anymore. And I left. I had to leave my mother, father, sister, brothers, everybody, and that wasn't an easy thing. But what it did was it not only saved my immediate family, but it also saved my life, and it gave me a new perspective on life,
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's a powerful statement. We don't take the time to to be honest and be real about things, and I think a lot of us do, like you said, wear the mask. When it comes to our mental wealth, our mental health, and wellness, and I think that's part of why there's so many issues in the Black community when it comes to us. And I think that, and we're going to get into it, that's where I think part of what your journal does I think it assists people in being able to get to those roots, as you talked about. Now, what got you started writing? Because you have more than just this project that you're doing, but you've done several other projects as well too. But what got you started writing?
I started writing as a teenager, going through traumatic experiences, and sometimes you can't talk to people and say what you want to say. And I
Mm,
always try to tell people, write a letter. And because I was without my family, I wrote many letters. My grandmother was my everything. I wrote to grandma all the time, my feelings and my emotions, because grandma always said, "Is who's bothering you, baby?" Or, I think I was my grandma's pet a little bit. But yeah, I started writing as a teenager when I was having a lot of traumatic experiences, and it really does help the healing process, because once you get the feelings and the emotions out, it
mm,
helps you to feel better. I actually had a business situation that I was dealing with, and I was pondering things in my mind and how I was going to deal with it. But once I actually got it out of myself and discussed it and talked about it, I felt a whole lot better. People don't understand that healing comes when you open up your mouth and speak.
mm, that's powerful. Healing comes when you are brave enough to speak. I like that. I like that. Now, um, what tell us? Can you tell me what made you want to write the Triumphant Queen, which is
Queen.
the title of the journal, which is the name of the journal? What made you want to write that?
Well, my first book, Free at Last, was the story of my true life, what I went through, and I was free once I got out of the situation and the circumstances, and thank God that I got free. And then I wrote Freedom Within the Looking Glass. Sometimes we have to look in the mirror ourselves to free ourselves. And I wrote The Triumphant Queen because I feel like I triumph in life now. I put all those things behind. I did the work, and it takes years. I can't say that. And that's why I wrote the Triumphant Queen journal the way I did, because sometimes it takes months, sometimes it can take years, sometimes it can take a lifetime. But at least you're doing the work and you're able to adapt in the community. See, that's the most
Mhm,
important thing I feel about individuals when they go through, is learn how to adapt in the community and within your family. So the Triumphant Queen allows you to not only write about your problems, but because it takes so times, I want individuals to pinpoint some things that they triumph throughout that time. I put African proverbs in there, positive quotes from famous people. I put affirmations, and I also wrote in the book about triumphant queens who have triumphed through life. The movie came out, and it was so amazing to me that that movie came out, The Woman King, around the same time, because I started writing this maybe almost a year and a half ago or more. And when that came out, I was like, yes, I'm right on point. But what I do want to say is, I never want people to think that I am saying that women triumphant over men, because I do know that, we as women, sometimes single women, I got this, I can do it myself. I tell my daughters and a lot of single women that when a man is around, I can't do nothing. I'm so weak. You have to make that man useful and make him feel like he's needed. But if you can do it all, what do you need him for? So the Triumphant Queen, as I said, gives the woman the opportunity to triumph through her journaling. Even if you get a little glimpse of hope, write about it.
mhm,
When I read back on some of my journals, it was just terrible, Dr. McKenzie. And it's like that. And it wasn't true, because during those years and during those times, I did have some happy times. I did come home and visit my family. I did go to family picnics. You know what I'm saying? I had some
mhm,
happy moments in there. And I feel like if I give the individual the opportunity to write some good things about themselves while journaling, that it will help them with, because you're going to go back and you're going to look at what you wrote, and you're going to be like, dang, you're going to be like, what? And that's what happened to me. And that's the main reason why I wrote The Triumphant Queen, because when you're journaling, people think that you just journal about hurtful things, but no, add some nice things in there, add some happy times in there, because you'll get some of those too.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing. Hopefully that people will understand the importance of journaling, but it's not just to talk about the some obstacles or bad things that you might be encountering. It is about your overall, you know, experiences that you have, and so that you can, like you said, when you do look back, you can see the good experiences that you had, but you can also see, you also see some of the other trials that you've come through. I call them the three T's. You have trial. You're going to have trials, triumphs, and the testimony.
Yeah,
Your trials and your triumphs give you your testimony. That's
absolutely.
the good and the bad. So I love that you created this journal, because it does give people the ability to be able to take what might be, like you said, on the inside, good or bad, you know, and to be able to put it on the outside. Now, now I want you to talk a little bit more about the journal, because it's not just that, journal type of journal that you just write your thoughts in. You have some additional things in the journal specifically for what you just talked about. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, as I said, I think I put 12 queens in there.
So it was
And when
10.
the women read the stories about the queens and what they went through, I think it's going to make a heck of a difference in how they write.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm not going to give the names of the queens. I'm not going to give everybody the information in there, because I really want you to buy the book. But when you read about how the queens triumphed through the hard times, and we as women, we go through a whole lot. The man is working and we work too, but the woman is the one who sort of brings everything together and make the family work. So when you see what's going on with these triumphant queens, and they ruled and reigned. Even if you look at the Queen of England, her thing in life was always the community, and we are women, we are community activists. So they will be able to see how the queens went throughout their communities and not only help people, but they saved them through so many things. And I think when they read it, they'll be able to look within themselves and find some hope. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
they can take what these women experienced and say, oh, well, I feel like I can volunteer to do this, because see, you get rid of pain and you begin to gain when you help somebody else. You know what I'm saying? You begin to forget about your problems when you see that my problem really isn't big as someone else's problem. And I know for a fact, because what I did was I took all of my pain that I went through and I created a new lifestyle. For instance, I talk about scars, inward and outward scars. And I created skincare for scars. I had so many women in my spa, not getting off subject, but I had so many women in my business who had issues with scars. There were women who wouldn't take off their makeup because they were hiding themselves. But then I began to realize there were scars on the inside that they hadn't dealt with. So
Mm.
the emotions of the triumphant queen, I just want our women to triumph now. Even the young girls, young teenagers, young mothers, I want them to understand that yes, you're going through a whole lot with technology and our children learning different ways of how to handle things. It will give you the strength. Like, for instance, I had no idea why I would have all of these visions of riding horses and bow and arrows and all of this. But then when I realized my ancestors did those kind of things, that's why I had that on the inside. And it's nothing but us triumph. It's nothing but us taking the reins and getting in there and bringing changes. You know what I'm saying? Not allowing the hurt to take your life. So many of our people are committing suicide like never before. And I feel like it's because we're not connecting. Like I said, when you're in your family gatherings, when you're out with other people, take a moment. I never forget, I used to go to my uncles and my aunties' parties back in the day. I went to those parties specifically, Dr. McKenzie, to find someone in the crowd that I could pull to the side to minister to. You know what I'm saying? When you see people acting a fool and act a character, because I used to say back in the day, the party don't start till I get there. I am the party, okay? So when I changed the guards and, and I realized who I am and I, transitioned and I became born again and gave my life to the Lord, I was all about helping other people, pulling them up out the mire, helping them to get rid of pain. I never forget my auntie, and I use this scenario. She says, if I could just carry you in my top pocket, I'll be okay.
I love
and I
that.
feel that people who have been through problems and traumatic experiences, it's time for you. Your testimony should be out there helping other people now. People, oh, I don't have nothing to do. But no, it's a lot that you can do. There are a lot of people out there who need you. You went through that so that you could help somebody out. If the Father delivered you from that circumstance and situation, now it's your time. It's your season to get out there and do something with it. You know what I'm saying? It's time for you to knock on some doors. I never forget this young lady. It was so funny. She was a drug addict, alcoholic on the streets, and she says, we're waiting for you to come get us. She says she was waiting for the church to come and get them off the street. That's profound to me, because the word of God tells you in Matthew to go to the highways and byways and compel them to come in. A lot of churches are waiting for people, calling people back, talking about come. No, you got to go to these streets and bring people in out of the rain. You got to bring them in from out of the storm. They're not going to come. You have to love them in.
Yeah.
You have to bring them in with the arm of love and let them know it's okay. But if everybody in church act like they're perfect, everybody feels like, oh, I've overcome, and now you don't forget who you was. Oh, you ain't never sinned a day in your life. You holier than thou. See, I don't believe in that, Dr. McKenzie. I believe in going back, snatching people up. You know what I'm saying? I used to use my house for a gathering place. I would go get women out of their circumstances and situations and stay in my home. Come stay here. You be okay. That's what the Father wants. He says, when I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was naked, did you clothe me? When I was sick, did you visit me? When I was, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what the missing link is to me. The missing link is gathering people together and making them well. Christ said, I didn't come for those who are whole. I came for the sick. And and we as the people down here on this earth, we're the only ones that people will see Christ like. Christ not coming back. He did what he was supposed to do. I'm not trying to get all spiritual and everything, but it is a part of who we are. So the journal, the Triumphant Queen, it's just out there for women to use it to triumph through their writing, triumph through their pain.
Now, what do you want the journaler to come away with once they've used the Triumphant Journal? What is it that you want them to say once they've finished writing in it and may have to get another copy of the journal because they got more writing to do? What do you want them to initially come away with from there?
One important thing: peace. Peace of mind. Peace of mind and acceptance.
I like that.
Acceptance of who you are, acceptance of what you went through, and acceptance of you can live through it. You can live, I used to, and I can only use myself as an example. I used to hate the way I look. Let me tell you something. And people be saying, oh, girl, for real. I thought I was the ugliest thing on the face of the earth.
Oh, no. Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I thought that is because my abuser told me it so many times, I began to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
We can believe things about ourselves that's not even there. And the Father placed me in a ministry, and I promise you, everybody act like I was the most beautiful queen ever. And I know that the Father did that for me because he knew I had low self-esteem about how I looked.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I became an esthetician, to help women better themselves who don't feel happy about the skin that they are in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They are women who hate the fact that they're very dark skinned.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what, Dr. McKenzie, I help the women. You want to be a little bit lighter with some glow? Hey, more power to you. I'm not going to take that from you, but if I can help you, I will.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what we're here to do, is being helpers of whatever the need the person has. You can't judge the person. You're not in their shoes. You don't know how they feel in the skin that they're in. You can't judge a person. Being judgmental is not the way to help an individual.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
helping them through it to get to it. Get to where? The other side of what they're going through. I really never think about what happened to me years ago. I really don't. Because my life is full. What is my
Mm-hmm.
life full of? Helping people. I tell people my phone is always available. 1, 2, 3 o'clock. If you need me, I'm here. Because the Father never sleeps, slumbers. Oh, I ain't answering that phone. Anybody? No. It could be a dire need. Someone could be in the midst of about to,
Mm-hmm.
suppose I'll answer that phone. Oh, I ain't got time. You better pick it up,
Right.
because we never know who we might help on the other end of that
Oh,
phone.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that. And when I say the name Triumphant Queen, what does that mean to you?
Royalty.
Mm.
Yep. Beauty. Yeah, I mean, because I know I'm royal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
see myself as a queen, and I dress myself as a queen. I act like a queen. I became a beauty consultant, and we were trained that every time you walk out the door, you look your best, even if you're going down the street to the store. Because I was selling myself, I was selling skincare, selling clothes, selling makeup. So I had to always make sure I was looking correct so that someone can ask me, and then I can tell them about my profession. So
Hmm.
the triumphant queen means exactly what it says. I triumph in everything that I try to do and say.
I like that. I like
Royalty means I present myself as royalty. Back in the day, the Israelites, the Father said, I draped you in gold. I put rings in your ears. Yeah, I dressed you in fine silk and linen. That's how I am today. I try to look and be my best when I present myself to the people. And then when they hear my story, they understand why I am who I am today, because I had to go through to get to. Once you come through a circumstance and situation, there should be a difference. I didn't even start carrying a pocketbook and dressing cute and acting really like a woman. I was very tomboyish when I was young, but
Hmm.
once my eyes was open and I began to, you have a stride in your step. You become like a pelican, and you begin to walk different, talk different, because you overcame in those circumstances and situations but there are people out there, Mr. McKenzie, who never get over it,
Mm-hmm.
because to me, there's generational curses sometimes that Auntie could never put the past behind, and you can never put the past. Always focusing on the past. You will never get to your future always focusing on your past. The word of God says putting those things behind and pressing towards. I got to press towards. But if you don't see nothing, you know why you don't see nothing to press towards? Because you're still dealing with yourself and not with others. We're here to be life givers, to give life to other people. That's what we're here for, to sow. You sow and you reap, you give and you give and you give, and you begin to get back.
If y'all haven't taken notes on what she just dropped, I'm sorry. For those that will listen to, hope they listened to what you just said. You know what I'm saying? And how important that is when it comes to us working on us from the inside out. There's so many of us that don't, that don't work on the inside. They'll put on the makeup, they'll put on the mask as we talked about earlier, um, but just to kind of look different, and to kind of not allow others to see the blemishes.
Yes.
But when you don't deal with the inside, those blemishes are going to show anyway. They'll show through all of the exterior stuff that you've done,
and
that
something.
Hmm?
Something else I try to tell people is, and this is what our pastor taught us years ago, the doors will open many, but will your character keep you there?
Yep. Exactly.
Because some people have to look at the cycle of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you get to a certain point, something happens. And you keep running when the problem is really you. You can move to Kalamazoo. You're taking yourself with you.
Yep. You can't run away from you. And that's what I was having that conversation with a couple of friends of mine, and I was telling them, I said, part of what the pandemic forced people to do was to have to sit with themselves.
Yes.
And they could no longer run from themselves. They could keep busy. There's so many people that keep busy.
Yes.
And the everyday rigmarole, so they didn't have to deal with themselves.
Yes.
But when they were forced to not be able to go anywhere, they couldn't go left, couldn't go right, couldn't leave out, they had to deal with that person that was in the mirror, and how important it is to be able to deal with us and be able to getting what's on the inside out. I want you to, if you can, I want you to give us 3 steps to being an effective journaler, and how they can use this Triumphant Queen journal to get to the other side of that healing, that you've been talking about.
The most important thing is choosing your journaling time.
Okay.
You don't want to write when you're in a hurry. Choose to write and use that time most of the time, meaning if you choose a time, always choose that time to write. But if you feel an emotion or you're having a struggling time, it's good to write then. And I also say, don't type write.
Okay.
You will find that when you write instead of type, that your handwriting can sometimes change depending on the emotions that you're writing in.
Okay.
And I found that out when writing. What's the next thing? Find a comfortable place when you're writing. Find a place of solitude, a place where there's no distraction. That's very important.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And sometimes you may even move to a different place. But like I said, make sure it's a place of solitude, a place where you can really express yourself. No distractions. And the third thing that I can say is just start writing. People think it's hard. Just put your pen to paper. It's nothing to really figure out. People try to make it hard. When I started my book, Free at Last, what helped me, I started from when I was a little kid. That's when I started my writing, and I began to write the story. Mm-hmm. Write the story before the pain came. Because I said people who journal are writing about their emotions, but I began to write, I wrote from the time I was a kid up until. Mm-hmm. It's a dynamic story that you can tell through your journaling when you do it that way. But like I said, you definitely can, write when you start feeling some kind of way. But if you start your journaling, and it will take you probably a couple of journals to get through to the point where you receive your healing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was talking about this the other day in a clubhouse room for authors, and it goes to what you were talking about. The second thing that you were talking about, finding your spot, finding that place that you can go to where you don't have any distractions. And how important that is to be able to sit in a spot, wherever that is. You can find that place that you can go, that you have that solitude, that there's not going to be anything. Turn the phone off.
Yes.
Turn the phone off.
I was going to say turn off any distractions. Absolutely.
And I like what you said about writing versus typing. Because when you hand write stuff, and then you go back and you look at that's you writing, sitting down and actually taking the time to write out your feelings, what it is that you're going through, and how important that is. And then the only thing that I would add to what you were saying and started writing was just be consistent with it.
Yes.
Be consistent with it when like you said, picking that time that you want to do it. Be consistent about doing that at that time. Because we're creatures of habit. So once you start to do it, they say it takes 21 days to make or break a habit. So once you get into that, it becomes not only a part of your daily routine, but it becomes a part of your lifestyle and what you do. And you'll find, trust me, like you were saying, I think you find that you'll feel so much better when you do express yourself and you get what's inside of you, what's inside out.
And also, one more thing I want to add to that is, don't walk in fear, because you are going to have to open and close doors that you probably had closed years ago. Mm-hmm. When you go back into those times, you're going to begin to bring up feelings and emotions that you may not have dealt with in a long time. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to open, because in my book that I wrote, Free at Last, I open doors, close doors, chains on doors, keys to unlock the doors. So you're going to find yourself opening and closing many doors as you begin to write, but don't let it stop you from writing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, is there a difficult part to journaling? Is it difficult for some people? Have you found people that talk about
what I just said? The opening and closing of the doors is the hardest part. Mm-hmm. Going back to the past, dealing with it. Okay. Because you will begin to ask yourself questions, and others who were probably around you during that time. Mm-hmm. And it can be difficult sometimes because dealing with mental health and everything, people have to go back and get, my brother helped me through a lot of things that, I probably, couldn't deal with on my own. So don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, as a writer, as a speaker, as a teacher, as a prophetess, Dr. Nialah Ali, it's going to make you so happy when you are complete with this journey. And as I said, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's really worth it. It will help your mind to relax. you'll say, finally, I have some
Yeah.
freedom. Because guess what you did? You faced it. You faced the reality of the circumstance and situations that you may have found yourself in. And one important thing that I want to say to those who will journal, don't point a finger, don't judge, don't condemn, forgive, and walk through it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just hope people understand that, and hopefully they'll grab the understanding that comes with journaling, how much of an awakening it can be. And like you talked about, I've had, a couple of my author clients, they were writing their um story, their biographies.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
this is what I learned from them, and I told them and told the other ones once I learned this. I said, you have to be ready to go back to that place. I said, because when you start to recall those experiences, those same emotions, those same feelings
Yes.
are going to come back up. So
Yes, absolutely.
you have to be able to you have to be ready to be
Yes.
able to handle that, and be able to deal with it. And like you said, I like, every single one that has gone through that, they were like, they felt so much better, like you were saying. They were like,
Yeah,
it was like therapy. It was a releasing. It was a freedom
it
that
is
they
a
got.
freedom
You know.
because you're really counseling with yourself to some
Mm,
degree.
mm,
Because once you begin to deal with it, and now that you're sort of older, even with teenagers, they go through a whole lot.
yeah.
Teenagers can write about what their experiences are. And what did they used to call it back in the day? A diary.
Hmm. Hmm.
Once you begin to write and deal with it, no matter what age you are, it helps you feel better. It opens you up, really, to me.
Yeah.
It opens you
Yeah.
up for
Yeah.
healing. It opens you up where you can begin to do a process of elimination. You know what I'm saying? And the very person or people or circumstance or situation that you may have found yourself in, when you go back and really look at all those other people who may have did A, B, C, D, E, F,
Yep.
G, you will find out that they the one who with the problem, baby. It was never you.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
everybody has a story, remember?
Hmm.
Everybody has a story, and the same people who did whatever devilment that they did or whatever happened, when you look at their story, you'll be like, oh, now I get it.
Hmm.
Okay. And
Hmm.
see, a lot of people, they haven't dealt with their truth either.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. And I think that's a great way for people to begin to deal with, who they are, and also to better understand themselves too. I think, what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
think I think you learn a lot about yourself when you're able to go back. Because I know with the my daily planner that I have, and I write down certain things that, whether it's that go along with my day, or that I'm, thinking about, or even the scripture that I have that I'm looking at, and sometimes even the because I watch Bishop T.D. Jakes in the morning, but the lesson that I get from that, and how I'm able to look back now and see how certain things, happen, how certain things that I'm dealing with, how I dealt with, like, oh, okay, that might not have been the right way to deal with it, or this was a good way to deal with it, and I know what to do next time I encounter with it. So to me, that's what I get from journaling. That's what I get from writing down those things that I'm going through, and I can reflect back on them, and everything like that. So
And one
what
thing
what
I like to tell people too
uh,
is and I don't know where that motto came in from, that people say you're crazy if you talk to yourself. No, I say you're crazy if you don't talk to yourself, because self will tell you all kind of things. Self will tell
Yep.
you to do this. Self will tell you to do that. Self will lead you down roads that you're not even supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's another story on another
I
day.
know, right?
But self
Absolutely.
will take you on a journey that you was not supposed to be on. You have the Holy Spirit, you have the Father leading you and guiding. Your intuition is leading you and guiding you, and you decide, well, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, and then you find out, oh, how did I know? It's because you didn't talk yourself out of that mess that you got yourself into.
Yeah.
I believe that there's sometimes warning signs, and we don't see the sound of the siren is going off in your head, trying to lead you, and you let that siren just keep on taking you on a journey you was not supposed to go on, because you did not listen. You did not talk yourself out of the heck that you're going through. Talk yourself out of it. You know it ain't right when you have thoughts.
And that is so true, because I see so many people nowadays, Dr. Ali. I see so many people now when I see these conversations and stuff like that. They be like, "Well, I look back and I didn't, and they reflecting on their choices and the decisions and everything like that." And I'm like, "Well, if you had just heeded what it just took a minute and heeded what it was that you were doing, you know, then that decision would have caused you not to have to go through so many of the things that you went through." Because
Absolutely.
I was thinking about,
Absolutely.
and I was thinking about that the other day, just about my personal self, because I hear a lot of people talk about, especially when it comes to getting into the wrong relationships and stuff like that. And I said I've never wanted to have those, those really bad or terrible experiences when it came to relationships and stuff like that. So I was very intentional about, who it was, and who I allowed into my space and who I wanted to get involved with and everything like that.
Absolutely. Yes.
So I didn't have to have all of those experiences. Didn't mean that I haven't experienced, have some bad relationships or bad experiences, but that what I hear, what a lot of other people have talked about, I'm like, no, yeah, like I knew that. I'm like, that was something that I was just not going to do, because it wasn't what I wanted to experience. You know,
Exactly.
it,
Exactly.
but I guess when we look back and we reflect now, we can understand that, and we can see those things. But I think it is important that we write about those things, so that we do, and even if we can use that to help the next generation. I truly believe we
Absolutely.
need to we need to take what we've learned, and use those experiences. Did you ever see the real quick? Did you ever see the movie called A Journal for Jordan, with Michael B. Jordan, and or the one that
Yes.
Denzel?
Good movie.
That was it was one of the best movies that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it showed the importance of the when the mother gave the son the journals of her from her husband to
Yes.
him. I
Mm-hmm.
was like,
Mm-hmm.
man, I was like, that was powerful.
It
So
was.
that
Yeah.
he could see what his father was trying to pour into him. Now,
Exactly. Exactly.
I was just like, and even the lessons that he had learned as a man, that he
Yes.
had passed down, because when he had the experience, when he had gotten to the fight at school, and
Right.
he got sent home, and then he was like, well, he didn't want to tell his mother, but he told his mother, and that's when she went and got the journal,
Right.
and she had him read to him. She had him read to her
Right.
about what his father had told him that he was going to experience.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
like, that's that's part of the power of journaling.
That's the power of journaling. The power of life is writing.
Yeah,
Writing and
yeah,
speaking, writing and speaking, right? That's a part of life. We have this mouth to express.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And
yeah.
writing, and sometimes, like I tell people, if you can't say it, write it. If you got to
Mm.
say something to somebody and you just can't get it out, hey, write them a letter and say, this is how I really feel about it. You may not understand what's coming out of my mouth, and you may not want to listen to me. I'm getting a little bit, yeah, but I'm just letting you know that this is how I feel right here. You did A, B, C, D, E, F. See, I don't even need, we used to say A, B, C, D. No. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Because, it's life. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Write them a letter. I'm not telling you to cuss nobody out and nothing, but put your feelings in emotions. You may need to put a little rock on there instead of cuss. You might need to, you want to throw a rock at them.
Absolutely. So but that's the power of journaling, you all. Dr. Ali, tell what's next for you. What do you have? Because we're in the last 3 weeks. And I've been saying that we're in the last 3 weeks of 2022. Do you have anything that you're working on in 2023, or
yeah,
what people
I'm
should be
working on
looking?
several things right now. My goodness, so many doors have opened up. So now I'm vending with my products. I have t-shirts, I have princess hats, I have jewelry, I have a lot of things that represents the triumphant queen and who we are. I had some t-shirts made of kings and queens, because that's who we really are. We as the African Americans are the kings and queens that came on the slave ships over here to the United States of America. And that's another story on another day. And you will be reading about my book that's coming out. I'm also at this particular time creating my own essential oils, my own skincare line, which I've been wanting to do, which we'll be having a platform store in Baltimore real soon. And I'm really excited about having those things on the market. So the new 2023 is going to be really, really good, because I'm able now to have products to go along with what I have been saying for so many years. You got to have some products and things to let people know. And for people to remember you by. I love essential oils. They call it the missing link of medicine. And I believe that it's going to really help people out. And it's a part of who I am as a licensed esthetician and wellness consultant.
Yeah, and I love it. I love multiple streams of income. I love entrepreneurs who are one, kingdom minded, but then two, also understanding how to build the capacity of their business. It's not just about one. It's not just about a journal. It's not just about books, but it's about those other products and services that you can grow from those foundational products that you have. So that's absolutely phenomenal. That is, yep. I love it. On her way to being a millionaire, y'all. Mark it down. I said it today.
And Dr. McKenzie, I started out before COVID started. I created a line of China, a tea set. And because of COVID, it has knocked everything off the market because of the import-export problems. So hopefully that will be coming through sometime 2023. But that is the main product that I'm really trying to get on the market, because we don't have any, as far as I know, any African-American tea sets or China out there for us to use. I'm trying to make some dishes that represents who we are, King David, King Solomon, things like that.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, how can people get in contact with you if they want to purchase the journal, or to actually come and have you speak, or come and have you speak as well too?
You can email me at imagewithinministries@gmail.com. That's IMAGEWITHIN ministries@gmail.com. You can go to my website, drnialaali.com. And you can watch me minister the word of God on YouTube, Dr. Nialah Ali. So, and I'm on Facebook, but that's how you can get in touch with me. I would love to come speak and teach to your youth, to the women's ministry. I just love sharing my story with others, because there is healing through speaking and teaching and letting others know that you can be an overcomer. That's my message to the world, that you can overcome, because I really didn't think that I was going to make it in life. And because I was left here, I believe that my destiny is to open up others' eyes, to let them know that after pain, you can gain strength, and you can become triumphant in whatever you want to do in this life.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Nialah Ali, And as she says, if y'all don't walk away from anything that she said today, walk away with this, because I wrote this down, Dr. Ali, because I love it. It says, don't wallow in your mess. Don't wallow in your
Amen.
mess.
Amen.
The way, one of the ways that you don't wallow in your mess is by having a journal, so that you can get what's on the inside of you outside of you and feel so much better. You'd be surprised of how better you'll feel, how healthier you will be when you allow yourself to be cleaned up on the inside, and you don't keep that mess. You don't have that mess that you're dragging along with you every day. Like Erica Badu said, bag lady, you can't take those bags with you. You know,
Exactly.
so you gotta let them go. You gotta clean the inside up. You gotta clean the mess up, and that's what I want you to do for these last 3 weeks. Clean the mess up.
Yes.
Clean the mess up. Go into 2023 with a clean slate, with a clean outside and a clean inside, so that you can be better going into 2023, and you can be better by the end of 2023. Dr. Ali, thank you again for joining us. It is always a pleasure to talk with you. These conversations are just always powerful and rich when I have them with you. But you can go and you can get the current issue of the. I can't put it up because you're not going to be able to see it. So you can see it through there, but the current issue of the National Black Unity News, which Dr. Ali is in the author showcase, but she also has a an article in there as well too. And you can get the subscription. You can go to the website www.tnbun.com. Go to the website, subscribe. You can also go to our YouTube channel, the National Black Unity News, and you'll be able to see the emblem. Can you see the logo? You'll be able to see the logo right there when you type that in. That's how you know it's our page. But there are other, all of our author showcase authors are in the showcase on the YouTube channel. Conversations, rich conversations just like this that we bring to you every quarter, because we thought it was important to give, well, not only these authors the platform to be able to talk about their mission and message and the music and motivation, but we give also you, the reader of the National Black Unity News, those that enjoy being able to want articles and want to be able to have something that betters you as a person. Because I promise you, you read the articles in this newspaper, you're going to be better, because you're going to be more informed. You're going to have so much knowledge, so much information that is going to be given to you just in these newspapers. So I want you to read. Go subscribe. Go subscribe to the newspaper. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like, share the YouTube channel as well too, so that we can have others, so that all of this information can be put out there, and people can hear great voices like Dr. Nialah Ali. They call you Layla Ali.
It's okay.
That's Muhammad Ali's daughter. But Dr. Nialah Ali, and all of the great, phenomenal things that she's doing with people to make people better. And as everybody knows, my mission, my purpose is to make people better by the end of the year than they were at the beginning of the year. And we do that by bringing people like Dr. Nialah Ali that have been a part of the author showcase. So again, Dr. Nialah Ali, thank you so much for being on
Thank
the
you for
showcase,
having
being
me.
with us. And we will talk with you all. We will talk with you soon, and we will talk with everybody else. We will talk with y'all soon as well. Join us for another episode of the Author Showcase, brought to you by the National Black Unity News and JNF Enterprise. We'll talk to y'all soon. Have a great day, great
Have a
evening,
great
everybody.
evening.